The year is 1520. Ferdinand Magellan's fleet, battered by storms and dwindling supplies, navigates the treacherous, uncharted waters off the South American coast. Suddenly, a figure unlike any they've ever seen appears on the shore, towering, immense, a giant. Antonio Pigafetta, Magellan's chronicler, describes them as beings of prodigious stature, yet surprisingly agile. He names them Patagonies, big feet. For centuries, the legend of the Patagonian giants has gripped the imagination, fueling expeditions, inspiring fantastical tales, and sparking heated debate. Were these encounters genuine? Did Magellan and his crew truly stumble upon a lost tribe of human behemoths? Or was it a case of exaggeration, misinterpretation, or even outright fabrication? Now we delve into the historical records, scrutinize the eyewitness accounts, and analyze the archaeological evidence. From dusty archives to remote Patagonian landscapes, we'll separate fact from fiction and explore the surprising truth behind one of history's most enduring mysteries. The search for the giants of Patagonia begins now. The initial accounts: Magellan and the Patagonies. The year is 1520, and the world is on the cusp of dramatic change. European powers, driven by insatiable desires for wealth and new trade routes, are launching expeditions into the unknown. Among these intrepid explorers is Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese navigator in service to the Spanish crown. His mission: to find a westward passage to the Spice Islands, circumventing Portuguese control of the established eastern routes. It is during this perilous voyage, hugging the desolate coastline of South America, that the first whispers of giants begin to circulate. Magellan's voyage was fraught with hardship. Scurvy ravaged his crew, storms threatened to shatter his ships, and the sheer vastness of the South American continent presented an unforeseen obstacle. As they sailed south, desperately seeking a passage to the Pacific, they encountered indigenous populations, each encounter adding to the tapestry of the unknown. But it was the meeting with the people they would call the Patagonies that truly set this story in motion. The most detailed account of this encounter comes from Antonio Pigafetta, a Venetian scholar who meticulously documented Magellan's journey. Pigafetta's writings, filled with observations on everything from the local flora and fauna to the customs of the native inhabitants, provide the foundation for the legend of the Patagonian giants. He describes these people as being of extraordinary size, far taller than the average European. The name Patagones, meaning big feet, is said to derive from the large size of their footprints, a detail that further fueled the perception of their immense stature. But Pigafetta's account is not without its ambiguities. While he emphasizes their height, he also notes their agility and strength. He recounts instances of these giants assisting the crew, demonstrating a degree of cooperation and even curiosity. It is important to remember that Pigafetta, like all observers, viewed the world through the lens of his own cultural background and expectations. His descriptions, while valuable, must be interpreted with careful consideration of the biases and limitations inherent in any historical record. The question remains: were these Patagonies truly giants? Or was their size exaggerated through the eyes of European explorers encountering a people vastly different from themselves? Skeletal evidence, examining the bone claims and exaggerations. The allure of giants often leads us to seek tangible proof. And what better evidence than the skeletal remains of these colossal beings? Over the centuries, numerous claims have surfaced, alleging the discovery of giant skeletons in Patagonia and elsewhere. These reports, often sensationalized and lacking in scientific rigor, have further fueled the myth. But how do these claims stand up to scrutiny? The problem lies in the details. Many of these supposed discoveries are shrouded in mystery, lacking proper documentation, photographic evidence, or most importantly, scientific examination. Stories abound of amateur excavations, chance encounters with unusually large bones, and whispers of artifacts too large for normal humans. However, when researchers attempt to verify these claims, they often lead to dead ends. The bones mysteriously disappear, the excavation sites are never found, or the evidence proves to be misidentified or fabricated. One common source of giant bones is the remains of extinct megafauna. Patagonia, in particular, was once home to a diverse array of massive creatures, including the Mylodon, a giant ground sloth, and various species of enormous marsupials. Their bones, when unearthed, could easily be mistaken for human remains by untrained observers. The sheer size and unfamiliar anatomy of these creatures could readily lead to exaggerated claims of giant humanoids. Without careful examination by paleontologists and comparative anatomists, these misidentifications can perpetuate the myth. Even when actual human bones are discovered, determining stature accurately can be complex. Forensic anthropologists use various methods to estimate height from skeletal remains, relying on measurements of long bones like the femur and tibia. However, these methods are based on statistical averages and can be influenced by factors such as ancestry, sex, and nutritional status. Furthermore, isolated bones, without the context of a complete skeleton, are notoriously difficult to interpret. A large femur, for example, does not automatically equate to a giant. It could simply belong to a tall individual or even someone with a medical condition like gigantism, which causes abnormal bone growth. Therefore, while skeletal evidence can provide valuable insights into past populations, it must be approached with caution and subjected to rigorous scientific analysis to avoid perpetuating unsubstantiated claims of Patagonian giants. The mythical height. Analyzing reported measurements and historical bias. Measurements, the seemingly objective data points in this saga, also demand careful consideration. We must delve into the reported heights of the Patagonian giants, sifting through the layers of historical interpretation and potential exaggeration. Early accounts, particularly those from Pigafetta and other members of Magellan's crew, are often cited as primary evidence of their extraordinary size. However, these accounts lack precise measurements, relying instead on comparative descriptions such as taller than the average European or reaching up to our waists. Such subjective observations are open to interpretation and can be easily influenced by the observer's own height, perspective, and cultural biases. Later explorers and travelers venturing into Patagonia in the centuries following Magellan's voyage offered more specific measurements, but these too are fraught with inconsistencies. Some accounts claim heights of 8, 10, or even 12 feet, figures that defy the known limits of human physiology. It is crucial to remember that these measurements were often taken using rudimentary tools and techniques susceptible to error and exaggeration. Furthermore, the motivations of the observers may have played a role, a desire to impress, to sensationalize their experiences, or to reinforce existing cultural beliefs about the otherness of indigenous populations could have led to inflated estimates. The historical context surrounding these accounts is crucial to understanding the potential for bias. During the Age of Exploration, European societies held deeply ingrained notions of racial and cultural superiority. Encounters with indigenous peoples were often framed through this lens, portraying them as either noble savages or barbaric primitives. The depiction of the Patagonians as giants could have served to reinforce these stereotypes, emphasizing their perceived difference from Europeans and justifying colonial expansion. The giant label, therefore, may have been a tool of social and political control, used to dehumanize and marginalize the native inhabitants of Patagonia. Moreover, the very act of measuring height can be a complex and culturally laden process. What constitutes height can vary depending on cultural norms and expectations. Is it the distance from the soles of the feet to the top of the head, Or does it include elaborate headdresses or hairstyles? How does one account for posture, clothing, or the uneven terrain on which the measurement is taken? These seemingly trivial details can significantly impact the accuracy and reliability of height measurements, especially when dealing with historical accounts from vastly different cultural contexts. Therefore, we must approach the reported measurements of the Patagonian giants with a critical eye, recognizing the potential for exaggeration, bias, and cultural misunderstanding. Cultural interpretations, exploring indigenous perspectives on giants. Beyond the realm of physical measurements and skeletal remains lies a far more nuanced and complex arena, the cultural interpretations of the giant narrative. To truly understand the Patagonian giant myth, we must explore the perspectives of the indigenous peoples who inhabited these lands long before European contact. Their oral traditions, beliefs, and cosmological frameworks offer a unique lens through which to view these enigmatic figures. For many indigenous groups, stories of exceptionally large beings are woven into their creation myths and ancestral histories. These figures are not necessarily viewed as literal giants in the physical sense, but rather as symbolic representations of power, strength, or spiritual significance. They may embody the forces of nature, the spirits of ancestors, or the guardians of sacred places. The Tehuelche people, for example, who are often associated with the Patagonians, have a rich oral tradition featuring powerful beings with extraordinary abilities. These stories, passed down through generations, reflect their deep connection to the land and their understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. It's crucial to recognize that the European interpretation of giants may not align with the indigenous understanding. What Europeans perceived as physical size and imposing stature, the indigenous peoples may have interpreted as spiritual power or social status. A tall individual, a skilled hunter, or a respected leader may have been elevated to legendary status, their physical attributes exaggerated over time to reflect their importance within the community. The term giant, therefore, may have been a misnomer, a cultural translation that failed to capture the true meaning and significance of these figures within the indigenous worldview. Moreover, the act of labeling indigenous peoples as giants can be seen as a form of cultural appropriation, imposing a European framework onto their identity and history. It disregards their own narratives and self-definitions, reducing them to mere objects of curiosity and speculation. By centering the European perspective, we risk perpetuating colonial biases and obscuring the rich and complex cultural heritage of the indigenous peoples of Patagonia. Therefore, it is essential to approach the topic of Patagonian giants with sensitivity and respect, acknowledging the diverse perspectives and interpretations that exist beyond the realm of Western scientific inquiry. We must listen to the voices of the indigenous communities and strive to understand their stories on their own terms, rather than imposing our own preconceived notions. Modern analysis, separating archaeological fact from legendary fiction. Modern analysis demands a rigorous approach, separating verifiable archaeological data from the embellishments of legend. While the historical accounts of the Patagonian giants offer a compelling narrative, the lack of conclusive skeletal evidence casts serious doubt on the existence of a truly gigantic race of people. No remains significantly exceeding the average height of modern humans have ever been definitively linked to the Patagonian region. Claims of giant skeletons unearthed in the past have either been debunked as hoaxes, misidentified remains, or lack proper documentation to verify their authenticity. This absence of tangible proof forces us to consider alternative explanations for the persistent giant myth. One plausible explanation lies in the phenomenon of relative height perception. Indeed, The Tehuelche people, known for their relatively tall stature compared to the average European of the 16th century, may have appeared gigantic to early explorers. The average height of Europeans during that era was significantly lower than it is today. Therefore, encountering individuals even slightly taller than themselves could have created the impression of extraordinary size. This perception could have been further amplified by the explorers' preconceived notions and cultural biases. Furthermore, the harsh Patagonian environment may have contributed to the perception of the Tehuelche as giants. The challenging terrain, requiring physical strength and endurance, could have resulted in a population of robust and well-muscled individuals. Their clothing, often made from animal hides, may have added to their apparent size. Combined with the psychological impact of encountering a new and unfamiliar culture, these factors could have distorted the explorer's perception of the Tehuelche's true height, leading to exaggerated accounts of their size. Ultimately, the mystery of the Patagonian giants serves as a reminder of the complex interplay between history, perception, and cultural interpretation. While the existence of a truly gigantic race remains unsubstantiated, the legend itself offers valuable insights into the dynamics of intercultural encounters, the power of storytelling, and the enduring human fascination with the unknown. By critically examining the available evidence and considering alternative explanations, we can move beyond the realm of myth and legend and gain a more nuanced understanding of the human history of Patagonia. The true giants of Patagonia may not have been giants in stature, but giants in their resilience, adaptability, and cultural heritage. The mystery of the Patagonian giants continues to fascinate, a testament to our enduring fascination with the unknown and the power of stories to shape our understanding of the world. Whether they were simply tall tales exaggerated over time or a glimpse into a forgotten reality, the legend of the giants serves as a reminder to question, to explore, and to never stop searching for the truth hidden within the whispers of history.